Welcome back to RAR Business Institute, your digital learning partner. We are back to transactions. In the previous video, we talked about transactions with customer, and we realized that customers' workflow, sales receipts, we do recording deposits, we also have invoices, receiving payments, and recording, which we did all. Now with the suppliers, I want you to take note these two things. The first one is that for suppliers there are transactions that will be done, and once you do these transactions, for example purchase order, receiving stock, you enter bills and then we'll pay these bills. Those are procedures. That's one procedure. Number two, the other procedure is whereby we'll be paying these suppliers either cash or check directly, usually applicable to expenses, and these expenses, they are those overheads that keeps on recurring from this month to the next month, and the circle continues. So I'll show you both ways, but first let's start by creating purchase order for the suppliers. So come to suppliers, supplier center, and with our suppliers we have two suppliers, GitLab and Hall of Fame. We're going to make purchase order for each supplier. Create purchase order. This for GitLab. What do they want? Computers. They need 10 computers. Take note, suppliers, we don't handle tax. Nevertheless, we hadn't set it simply because taxation of suppliers is normally supposed to give us relief, but it's up to the suppliers to keep track of the tax through goods and services they're offering to our company as their customers. So don't mind about tax in purchase order. So that is computers, and we also have printers. We need 15 of them. It is always important to give the number here, and remember, once you give the number, the next number the system will follow the pattern you'll give here, and it will start. For example, let me give this 00001, purchase order 001. So you'll see them, you'll see the system following that pattern and giving the second purchase order using the same pattern. Now let's save this one. Save a new. Let's do another one for Hall of Fame. We are also selling for them computers. This time around we want to sell for them 20 computers, and we also want to sell for them around 40 of printers. Good job. Let's save a new. That's good. Those two are enough to save us some time. Now once you do purchase order, let me remind you, purchase order, you have to receive this good before we enter bills and before we pay. Payment of bill is the final bit. But let's check what you have in the bank. Like if I check here, you see our family bank. This is the amount we have in the bank. And you can also check the bank statement by just double clicking your statements and you do the line. This will give you the amount of money in bank, some of which have been deposited from goods and services that we have sold, and some are from our customers' payment and some are from the deposit that we made. So we had a deposit before we started transaction. If you have been following with me keenly. Now that's the statement of the bank. We don't have yet, we have some balance in the M-Pesa, but later on we'll be able to do reconciliation in both of them. Now let's start with this supplier. Purchase order is what we have done. Now we want to receive the items and enter bills, the second stage. Note that you only receive goods and services to those suppliers that you've allocated purchase order to. Now let's start with this GitLab. It will ask you, open purchase order exist for this supplier. Do you want to receive against one or more of these orders? Just say yes. Is PO001. You must note this number here, purchase order number. So you write it down there, PO001. Then you save a new. Let's come to number 2, which is Hall of Fame. Yes, the same procedure. And you remember the system automatically assigned this to PO002. We assigned one, now to follow. It's a brilliant system. Say okay. Just do PO002. And you save and close. If we save a new, we don't have another one, so you just save and close. So once you save and close, I want you to take note on something here. Wherever we have purchase orders, when we make purchase orders, the orders remain blank the way you see them, apart from the figures that are keyed in there. However, once the goods and services have been received, now you know there's a real deal. It's like you make an order. An order does not mean that there's a deal. An order is just an assumption that there is going to be a deal, because sometimes you make an order and the suppliers you're making order to, they don't have that good and service. So you can receive part, you can receive full, you can fail to receive anything from the suppliers. So in that case, purchase order is just that. But once goods and services have been allocated, now you know we have a deal. And that's why once you receive items and enter bills, let me take you to workflow again. Once you receive items and enter bills, now there's a deal. But before that, you can't go that. So purchase order, receive items and enter bills. Receiving items and enter bills, this is in one, just one clip, you get it. However, there's that bit of receiving items, but that is when you are handling receipts. we're dealing with the cash. That's when you receive stock. I'll be able to show you an example later on with just one or two transactions. In the meantime, let's come to this supplier purchase orders. We had already done purchase orders. Let's see previous. By using previous button, you now see the goods and services have been received in full. Now we can proceed to the payment. You can only proceed to make payments once the goods and services have been received. Now there are two ways. I can click directly in the workflow, pay bills. It will still pay, or alternatively I say suppliers pay bills, the same thing. So if I want to pay bills, let's say to GitLab as a supplier, I'll click here. This is the amount I'm paying. And I want to pay. Take note, you have to indicate if they had credits, you indicate. If no, you have to indicate the payment method. You pay customers in cash, in check, American Express, MasterCard, Visa. In our case, let's just do check. Then if you do check, you must say assign check number. If you do receipts, there will be receipts, but check number disappear. So because we are paying them from the bank, you just want to write check so that you don't have headache. They'll sort it in the bank. The payment date you must indicate down here. So after doing payment date, you come and see this pay selected bills. You must write the check number now. Now we have a check number, CHQ 0020. That has been paid. You can say pay more bills. Now with the payment of this bill, this time around I want to include what is called discount received from suppliers. Maybe the supplier decide to give us 10% off. Now this is how it is done. Just come for your calculator here, use calculator, edit, use calculator. If we are given discount of 10%, it means that we'll pay 90% of this. Now 90% of this, let's calculate that, is 108 times 90%. That's the amount, and 7,200. So the customer, the suppliers have given us discount. This is other current asset to us. Now I'll show you. Sometimes you just do this discount from here, but you just say pay selected. Before that, we come here and we want to set the discount, and we want to ensure that this amount goes to the discount account here. What code is the same? Discount in most cases we just say non-taxable. It's a discount that we have been given with our suppliers, so we don't have business with the KRA on our discount. because we have already paid out this. Now we have to indicate the discount amount is how much. Amount of discount is obviously 108 minus 97,200. That will give us 1080. Let's see, 1080 minus 108. $10,800. Yes, it's 10,800. So you have to put that amount here, 10,800, and this must go to our discount account. You see, once you set the discount, this will give you amount to pay. And we can create our discount account here very fast. Actually, we should always put it in bank, but it's just that this amount doesn't go directly to bank. Now it's always advisable you create account for discount. And remember, this is an income. I said it is some current asset. Even though you don't get this money in cash, but it's always a discount. So let's call this one discount received. And discount received, then you say save. Our discount received amount to pay is this, is the one we indicated there, then we say done. So the moment we set discount like that, even if we come and pay, you can assign check number. Amount is 92,700. Our check number, you can give it check number. Good. If you want to say pay more, there are no bills to pay. Now that one, we are done with the suppliers. Now I want to indicate two things before we go to the next stage. There are refund inwards and refund outwards that we want to do with the suppliers. I'm going to put refund inwards, refund outwards, so that you are able to see how things go. So we will start with refund inwards, then we'll go to refund outwards, then we'll go some expenses. After expenses, we'll be able to move to other things. Now refund inwards. Refund inwards is normally from customers, and this is normally due to some goods, faultiness of some goods, or those goods that have not reached some desired qualities, or when goods have been overcharged, customers are overcharged. And I'll show you 3 ways of handling refund inwards. So let's start by refund inwards. Remember, refund inwards is for customers to do. They're the ones who do refund inwards. Refund outwards happens to suppliers, yani our company returning goods to suppliers. That is refund outwards. Our customers are returning goods to us. That is refund inwards. Now this is how we do. Customers refund credit note stroke refunds. That is credit note stroke refunds. let's assume these people are refunding something here, maybe some two computers or three had a problem, and one printer, just one. If you say refund, now let me explain something here. A refund inwards for customer normally have three stages or three options depending on what you are refunding and how you hope to refund it. The first one, as you can see, is you can retain this as available credit. This is what normally applies in most of our food stores, supermarket, etc. You retain as a credit means that you bring a refund, I acknowledge it and retain it. If it was electronic you want, or a cloth you bought and it's distorted or it has some issues, when I retain a credit, I'll give you a credit note and give you one condition, that either you wait for me to stock take or restock so that you get that product you want, exact product, or alternatively you can use this credit to purchase anything of equivalent value, and I give you a duration, maybe 1 month. Within a month you should have finished purchasing whatever you want. Now that's what normally happens, because in accounting system giving a refund is the last thing. It's not always easy to get back your money. Remember, this money, once it goes into the system, it leaves a lot of footprints, and nobody always wants a lot of trouble, because removing this money out of the system is normally more trouble. It does more harm than good to your books and the system, handling auditors. Accountants normally avoid so many questions as such. So this giving refund is the last option. The two option is retain as available credit or apply to invoice. Apply to invoice kinda operates like contra, whereby I'm buying something, but because I have a credit note, so instead of you giving me this computer at 51, I bought computer worth 50,000 shillings, for example. No, I bought computer and printers worth 300,000 shillings. Then I find out that my refunds are 51,500. If I apply to invoice, it will mean that now the value of computer that was bought 300,000 minus this 51,500, I'll pay the balance. So if you always apply on the invoice, it give you relief. It normally give you relief, and that one means that you don't pay much what you're supposed to pay. Now in this case, let's just retain as a credit. Let's say okay. Retain as a credit. Let me also do another one for George. Let's check we did for who? Elizabeth. Now let's do for George. George is also returning. These computers are faulty. They have refunds. And even printers. Why they for refunds so huge like that? Now can put some message there. Save and close. The same way I already explained these procedures. Now we can say apply to invoice. This one is only that this customer has no open invoice, so if they don't have open invoice, then it's not applicable. So you ensure before you apply a credit note or a refund to an invoice, there must be an open invoice in existence. Remember, all our invoices are paid, so it's not applicable. What is applicable there is credit notes, so we'll avoid that. Now that is credit customers, create refunds to credit, and we get that. That's the credit note. Credit stock refund, that's how the customers handle the refunds. Now let me take you and show you how suppliers handle their refunds. This is how suppliers handle their refunds. Come on, see suppliers, enter bills. So for a supplier to enter returns, you say supplier enter bills, then you shift supplier credit. Now from there you can now choose the supplier. Remember, it's now a credit, and you indicate. But remember, before you do it to supplier, there has to be a purchase order in existence. That's the only time you'll be able to do it. Without purchase order, you will not be able to do it. So we can make one very fast just to show you what it is. So supplier, purchase order. We just create one for GitHub. And that's okay. GitHub. Now GitHub, I want to do some refunds, so just say suppliers, enter bills. Because if you receive items, it will mean receipts. Let me show you something. Supplier, receive items. This is when you want to pay supplier in cash, but now we are still on refund. You don't want to pay this in cash. Now this is what we do. Suppliers, enter bills. Let me close this one. Supplier, enter bills, then you say it's credit. The credit for GitHub. So from here you can indicate for the GitHub, you say it's refunds, but you have to indicate the account that is associated with the GitHub. That is normally account payables. Account receivable is here. Then you indicate the amount, and once you indicate the amount, like it was around 36, and indicate this as amount of refunds. We have to put this in the memo. This is refund outwards, remember. And you copy this. This is our memo here. What account payable and things like that. You come and copy this one to this memo down here. then you save. You can create our account here. Is not, we never created, we just chose one, but we can just create ours here. Remember, refunds inwards are liabilities. Actually, these are usually some current liabilities, so you just say other. Refunds outwards. Then you save a name. Very good. Now that was refund inwards and refund outwards. Kindly let me remind you that if you are bumping in this video for the first time, please don't forget to subscribe. Through that you support our channel, and you also give us comment below, because that will enable us to produce more quality videos for you. Also remember, I'm putting down below this video these links for materials. Remember, practice makes perfect, and by practicing these transactions you become a very good accountant. This program is not only for accountants, but is for entrepreneurs, business owners, and managers, directors. You can even use it to manage your personal finances. Now I'll put the link below for this program and even the materials. If you need them, you will order. Also don't forget to comment below, and you give this video thumbs up, because through that we'll get to know our ratings with these videos, so that we are able to produce more quality. Once again, thank you for listening, and we want to proceed to the next level. Now we have done refunds. I want to show you how to do expenses. After we've done expenses, then we'll start other transactions. Now this is what happens with the expenses. First, we have to create accounts of those expenses that are overhead, like rent, electricity, telephone bills, and water. So I just want to make those 4 overhead expenses. I'll show you how to pay them, then we proceed to another level. Now for you to handle those overhead expenses, remember, those are bills you must pay, and those bills you don't make purchase orders. You don't follow all of this procedure with such expenses. Now let me take you back to charts of account. You remember charts of account? Company charts of account. Now let's create these expenses. Account new. I'll just do very fast because I know you already know how to work with charts of account. Expenses next. So we have rent. Can give this one rent. Yes, we must start with the rent. Description here, you can give this is rent. For our offices, just a small description. You say 7. Remember, our expenses don't give us place of opening balances, so take note. The reason that is happening that way is because expenses they accrue. You don't have them in account, but after some transactions they accrue. So save and new to go to next expenses. You see it from here. The other one is electricity. Let's save a new. Another expense is telephone. With calls. Telephone. I'm saying there's a one like that, so I can just change that one there. Then we have water. Now we made 4 expenses: water, telephone, and all those ones. Now I want to show you how to make these expenses be in one account, because that will enable you to manage your accounts systematically. So we want to create one account, call it general expenses, then all these expenses will go in there. Now this is how to create it. Account new, expense, continue. Let's give this one general expense. Remember, all these expenses you create, you can always edit them if you wish. Then our description can be all expenses. So all expense accounts are there. Now the first expense account we created was electricity. Just do electricity and say edit. Now this electricity, it's a sub account of general expenses. Then you save. Now you see our electricity general account is the main account, then electricity is down here. The other one was rent. Just right click edit. It is important to arrange your account in a systematical way. General expenses. The other one was telephone. Telephone is here. Is a sub account of general expenses. And finally we had water. Water is somewhere. Water is here. Only ensure you deal with only the ones you've created, those ones that will give you freedom. Now you have our general expense account. It has several sub accounts here. Now take note, for you to be able to do transaction with this expense account, there has to be respective suppliers of this. For instance, for electricity we'll have somebody called Kenya Power. For rent we'll have someone called landlord. For telephone we'll have someone called Safaricom or Telecom Kenya. Then for water we have Nairobi Water and Sewer. Now very fast, let's create those suppliers. You remember how to create suppliers, supplier centers. Then you just do new supplier there. So our first supplier is rent. We have someone called landlord. just copy and paste. Can be individual, can be company. Next, the next person, we have electricity, we have somebody called KPLC. Next, very fast. Telephone, we have someone called Telecom Kenya. Next, and finally water, we have someone called Nairobi Water. Okay, now we have all these guys around there. I will only do for 1 month. For example, you want to assume that rent we pay 40,000 shillings, and then now let's start. Let's assume that we normally have, I want us to do for January for 2 months, so that you learn how to do this thing properly. Now the first thing now, before we make payments, is that we want to make bills for these guys, and to make those bills we just come and say supplier, enter bills. Now we don't use this one. Let me take you to workflow. Now we just come straight away to enter bills, not against stock now, because if you say against stock, it will ask you that you must have had purchase order somewhere, but now you don't need a purchase order. For the bills come as they come. Now you go straight away to supplier, enter bills. We'll start with the landlord. The bill that they want is, you must put it to the respective account. So for landlord we have rent down there. And our rent is this much. Then you say rent for January. Now you say rent for May, April. Copy this memo here. Done. To do for electricity. For electricity we have somebody called KPLC, and this person is the one we are giving electricity. We want to pay this much. Remember, these transactions keep recurring. Steamer for April. You as an accountant has to be very organized to avoid a lot of confusion. Remember, if you are organized, even the reports will be polished, and that is a plus to any business. Supposing I was doing for May, April and May, I'll do for May. Now let's do Telecom Kenya. Telecom Kenya is going to sum telephone. Telephone is when the expenses deserves. Telephone, these people talk. They're using this much in telephone. These are expenses that keep on recurring on a monthly basis, so you must always stick to this procedure because it makes your report easily accessible and easy to deal with. So finally, water. We have somebody called Nairobi Water and Sewer Company. Nairobi Water and Sewer Company. Let's give them water. So how much? Water is a lot, especially with this rainy season. Water is much for April. Take note, for May, for June, for December, for January is the same procedure. Just learn the pattern. These respective suppliers and those accounts, the suppliers and account are the ones that are consistent. There are those that are not consistent. You can always create for them a separate account. It will make your work easier. And if you're having problem with this or question or you need clarification, comment below. I'll be able to make a separate video for these. So you say save on new. I will save and close. Once you're done, we proceed to make the payments, and when we make the payments, we now want to start by making this. Simply say supplier pay bills, and you can pay bill directly to these people. Supplier pay bills. You can pay bill. We'll get them all here. That's for paying bills. Sometimes we decide to just supplier want to pay bills for them. If they were not in bills and we want just to, we just come and say banking, write checks. And in this case, if you wanted to write a check for somebody, let's say Kenya Power has given us this bill, there are two ways to pay these bills. I can decide to write for them check by saying banking, write check, and it will come the amount. I was already shown the amount this person has. For example, if Telecom Kenya, so I know they have. So you can go to pay bills or we continue with writing checks. Well, that if you are writing check, you can see something is written here. Using the write check window to pay an open bill will cause your account payable to be incorrect. So it's normally advisable that you go to write bills, because if you write check, then you'll be asked so many things like there has this transaction, the bill was having some transaction number that is normally used to track it. In our case, we never did any number here. It's a serious challenge. So in your transactions, ensure you do those numbers. I said that previously with other account. I still repeat that it is important to do that. So let's just go to pay bills, whereby you come and say supplier pay bills. You can take KPLC, just pay bills. You can give them the check number there. Pay more. Pay more bills. Finally, let's pay the last bill. we've not checked it. Remember, we were dealing with bills of April. Come May, we will do the same. Come June, July, and even December, the same procedure repeats itself, keeps on repeating itself there. So that is bill with the expenses. Now that's the expenses. Now in our next video, I will show you how to do reconciliation reports, how to correct accounts, correction of errors, and that is in the journal. Correction of errors, reports, reconciliation, depreciation, and how we are preparing our books for the next financial year. Then questions and answer sessions. I've done my part. You should do your part by asking questions and answers. You ask questions, I give you answers, and that is done. Remember, the program I'm using is compatible to Windows 10. So if you're using Windows 10 like me, this is the best. If you're using Windows 7 or other Windows operating systems, there is another program which I explained in my earlier videos. It's version 2014. It works best with those. And again, if your machine is very slow, choose the super light version like this. That doesn't hang. It can actually propel your work much faster, giving you zero headache. Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to the end of this video. I wish to see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, as we'll be tackling more things. And remember to click the notification icon bell so that each and every time I release videos like this, you are notified. Thank you very much for now, and see you in the next video. Welcome again to RAR Business Institute. Bye bye.